Hey there everyone, this is Samuel Johnson and welcome back to the Lyoko Retrospectives, and today we're going to be discussing episode 34 of Code Lyoko, Missing Link. And in this episode, the group is going into Lyoko to try and gather data to find a way to create an antivirus for Alita, but once the group arrives in Lyoko, they end up having some problems as they're immediately attacked by a group of Cankerlites. The group does their best to fend them off, but in the midst of the battle, the Schifozoa shows up. Only instead of attacking Alita, it immediately goes for Yumi. While they're able to free Yumi and scare it off, the group begins wondering what the heck's going on, and of course Jeremy decides to immediately devirtualize everyone to try and get some of their bearings together. Only when he tries devirtualizing Yumi, she isn't coming through. As such, they send Yumi off to a tower to try and get a scan of her, and it turns out the problem is that when Xana sicked the Schifozoa on Yumi, it didn't steal her memory, it stole her human DNA source code, so to speak. Essentially, with the way Jeremy describes is that whenever the group is virtualized into Lyoko, their DNA is kept on a code. Sorry, my dog's right here. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. My dog decided that was the moment to get my attention. Anyway, as I was saying, essentially when the group is virtualized, their DNA is kept on them as a source code. Pretty much whenever they're reconstituted into the real world, their DNA is what helps them regain their physical form. And pretty much by taking away Yumi's DNA source code, Xana's effectively trapped Yumi in Lyoko. She can't be devirtualized for any reason whatsoever. Pretty much effectively trapping her there. As such, yeah. So the group is at a loss because one, their friend is trapped in this virtual world, and two, just kind of real life stuff, namely the stuff with the school namely there's a school photo that's going to be happening that day, but unfortunately the only reason that if you're absent from that, you'll get a suspension, which unfortunately is what will affect Yumi. Now, of course, Yumi thinks that's the first thing is her mind immediately goes to that and how that worries her. Though to be fair, she freaks out before she learns she's effectively trapped on Lyoko. So yeah, so it's kind of understandable. But again, my first thought was, what happens if I'm stuck here and so forth. But Ulrich and Odd have an idea as they go to the school and decide they're going to ask someone to step in and masquerade as her. That someone specifically being Sissy. Now, admittedly, this part of the episode made me cringe a bit because usually whenever they have to ask Sissy for a favor, Sissy milks it for all it's worth, but for some reason they caught Sissy on one of her good days, as when Ulrich and Odd ask her if she'd be willing to step in for Yumi, she says yes. And while she would typically immediately say, okay, I want to do, but you gotta do something for me, she says, this time she says, no, I'll do it pro bono. Which is surprising for everybody, myself included. She seems completely accommodating. She's like, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it for free, and I'll just consider it a favor. It's weird too. Like when I watched the episode 2, I was just kind of waiting for like the moment where she would turn this to her advantage, like, because it's Sissy, and while we have seen her good side every now and then, it usually takes a crisis to bring that out. So we don't usually see it that often. So seeing her actually be this cordial towards the group without doing anything to actively take advantage of them, it was weird. I'm not kidding. It was just weird. But at the same time, it's also nice seeing Sissy actively trying to work with them. At one point when she does try dressing up as Yumi, she ends up wearing one of her dresses, but because it's not what Yumi would wear, she throws out the idea of them getting one of Yumi's dresses and giving it to her, which she doesn't throw a fuss about. It's not to try and get them in trouble. No, it's just so they can get the dress for her. And once she gets it, she doesn't say, "Are you gonna stick around for this?" Hold on a second. Sorry about that. Anyway, like I was saying, she doesn't throw a fuss. And even later on when she gets caught because literally everyone is able to see through the disguise, she takes the full brunt of the blame. She fully says she gets her father to not get Yumi in trouble, but she's perfect, but she's willing to take the blame for it, even accepting the punishment. It's actually rather selfless of her, and one of the few times we see her acting this way so far. She probably could have more moments like that in the future. I don't remember. So, yeah, it's kind of weird. Not unwelcome, just so weird. But that's not the big. But let's get back to Yumi and what's going on with her. While Odd and Oric are off trying to get Sissy to go along with a plan, Jeremy and Aelita are left behind trying to figure out how to help Yumi. Well, Aelita says that she has a plan and says that she has to go to Lyoko. She won't tell Jeremy what the plan is, but he goes along with it and sends her in. And so she goes to where Yumi is, and she explains what her plan is. Sorry, I'm just looking through my stuffed animals. Pretty much what she wants to do is transfer her DNA source code to Yumi, something which would effectively trap her in Lyoko, which Jeremy's not okay with. But Aelita pretty much figures Yumi's the one that has a life. If anyone's gonna be trapped in Lyoko, it should be me, and so she immediately mutes Jeremy since he's gonna keep objecting, and she immediately starts the process. However, while the process is going on, Jeremy ends up doing a quick scan, and he soon figures out what Xana's plan is this whole time. It turns out that, again, showcasing that Xana has gotten smarter and is learning more and figuring out more of the group's dynamic. It turns out the reason why he attacked Yumi and stole her human DNA is because he knew that Aelita would try to sacrifice her DNA for Yumi. The reason being that once she loses her DNA source code, Xana can immediately just take her memory without even needing the Schizozoa. It would be like just transferring files on a computer. There'd be no ifs, ands, or buts. It would just be his, and that was ultimately his goal in the first place. It's actually really impressive and really smart. All he has to do is just do one thing, and the rest just plays out on its own. Again, it shows that Xana has gotten smarter. I like that. Of course, so as such, once Odd and Ulrich show up, Jeremy immediately tells them what Xana's plan is and sends them in. They manage to get there and stop the process before it's completed, and they inform Aelita what they have to do. So at that point, their priorities is just try and get her human DNA back. And odds are, if Xana's got it, then the best place he would keep it is where his memory is stored. In this case, Sector 5. And as such, from there, it's just they go to Sector 5 and manage to get her memory back. They go through some process. They end up going through a bit of turbulence as they have to deal with Sector 5 and its shenanigans with shifting and having to lock it in place. Them dealing with the mantis as they try to get Yumi's memory back, and even kind of a near miss as it looks like they're gonna get stuck. One more time, sorry. He's gonna be on my lap from now on, at least till this vlog is over. He keeps trying to get out of the room. But yeah, they do manage to get Yumi's memory back, and she does manage to devirtualize successfully. And on top of that, before she was devirtualized, at the beginning of the episode, she was actually running late, and of course, Ulrich, being the jealous boyfriend, wanted to know what she was doing. She refused to answer, but just as they're getting her code back, she explains that she was trying to get concert tickets for the Powerline. Sorry, I don't remember what they are. I know Powerline isn't the right band because that's the name of the singer from Goofy movie. But whatever, she wanted to get band tickets for that, and apparently things were not going her way that morning, so it took a while to get them. As such, once she's back in the real world, then she and Ulrich are actually thanking Sissy for helping out. As a reward, Yumi says, "Hey, Sissy, you want to go to the concert with Ulrich?" And Sissy pounces on it. And the episode ends with the group just wondering why Sissy was being so altruistic. Which Jeremy just says maybe it's because she likes Odd. Maybe because she likes Ulrich, which I would still question, because even with that in mind, Sissy usually likes to milk these things for all it's worth. So it does make you wonder. But yeah. But overall, I thought it was a fine episode. Again, I like seeing Xana being this smart. It's not just random attacks this time. What I like is that in this season he has an end goal. In the first season, at most, his goal was to make sure that Aelita never left Lyoko, but it just seemed to be to cause as much random mayhem and destruction as he could, and the group was mostly just reacting. So here he's got it, but he has a specific end goal in mind. He wants Aelita's memory, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to get it. And in this case, how he gets it this time isn't just to try and force Aelita into Lyoko. No, he instead attacks the friends takes something that's essential for them and then just lets the rest play out. And if it wasn't for Jeremy finding out, and if it wasn't for Jeremy digging through the code, his plan would have succeeded without a hitch. It's really impressive. Just all you had to do was just a couple precise things: the attack and the Schifozoa, and then the pieces just fell where they would. And again, if it wasn't for Jeremy finding out the code, it would have worked. It was impressive, and it was actually a bit of impressive planning, and I liked that. And on top of that, it also shows more that Aelita is getting more used to, is kind of showing her more human side, as she doesn't hesitate when she's ready to save Yumi, which again is a consistent character trait. We've seen that side of Aelita before. She is willing to sacrifice for others, even if it means screwing over herself. Like in the second episode when Susanna was storing up power in that pylon, and Yumi suggested that they possibly warn someone just in case they fail. With Aelita being the tiebreaker that said you gotta warn someone, because they knew that if they warned someone, they would turn the supercomputer off and they would lose Aelita forever. So again, that's a more consistent characterization with her, and I like that. On top of that, but again, I think another thing that really gets your attention is the B plot. It's cringy, I fully admit, but it's so interesting too. It feels like it is trying to play out to be cringe comedy, which I'm just gonna say right now, I don't like cringe comedy. It works too well, if you ask me. It just makes me visibly cringe, and it doesn't make me laugh. And if I am laughing, it's just like an awkward laughing. So I just like, ugh. I actually feel what the characters go through when they go through that cringe. So I never like it. So it was feeling really uncomfortable to see Sissy immediately act as altruistic. And again, it's not unwelcome, mind you, because again, as we've established through the show, she isn't a fully bad person. When push comes to shove, she will put others before herself. But like I said, that's when push comes to shove. That's during parts of crisis. Usually, it feels like if in order to show that side in a setting that's less than a crisis, they have to go through some major character shift. But we didn't see that with Sissy. And I know that she has a crush on Ulrich, but we've seen how deceiving and conniving she can be even to get Ulrich's attention. So, to see her actually act altruistic without any ulterior motives, even to the point where she actually gets upset, she actually gets angry and tells all the other students to shut up when they start seeing through the disguise, and it's really and even taking the full brunt of the blame from her father. That shows that she has gone through some that's like a major leap in character development. It feels so strange and out of left field. I'm not adverse to this at all. I like that we see her acting more nice. It feels so strange is all. Even in universe, everyone's wondering, why is she acting like this? What's going on? But we see her so it feels so strange, but at the same time, kind of sweet. I like seeing her actually do while it feels so awkward and strange and kind of cringy, it's at the same time nice to see her accommodate and actually work with them, and ultimately to see that altruism get rewarded as the group continues thanking her, and despite the punishment, Yumi decides, instead of just holding the fact that she has these concert tickets that Ulrich likes over her head, she gets him to Sissy and says, "Why don't you just go with him?" It's that's just super nice. It's nice and it's sweet. It's so weird when it happens, but at the same time, I do like seeing that level of generosity be rewarded. And I think that would continue. And I feel like such stuff like what they did with Sissy would probably help to showcase more of that behavior in the future. I like that sort of thing. I like seeing it actually being showcased in the episode. It just feels weird that how easygoing she is, which is why I said before they caught her on a good day. We don't know why she did it. But again, before you say, well, she obviously likes Ulrich. Again, as I said before, even before it was all, or when Ulrich has asked her for something, she's always asked for something in return, like a date or going out or whatever. She's always had some form of she's always had an ulterior motive. So seeing her actually take a step to try and win his affection through a more positive way, it's strange, disturbing. Well, mostly disturbing in how unexpected it is, but I like it too. So, yeah, it's nice. I'll give it credit. I think it actually is I actually do like it. So yeah. Actually, I don't think this episode's fine. I think it's actually really good because of that. First, I like the villain's plot. It's creative and it's very creative, and it's very minimalistic, which I think actually works to the advantage. Where I like the villain plans where all the villain has to do is just like shit the little thing. It's like master manipulation. All you have to do is just say the right thing to the right person, or make sure something's in the right place at the right time, and everyone else will just play to it. And pretty much and after that, the characters just do what they do naturally, and all that characters have to do is do what they do naturally, and your plan comes to fruition. And again, like I said, it would have worked if Jeremy didn't look into the code. So I like that. I liked that. And while the B plot was cringy as hell, I liked how it was resolved, and I liked seeing Sissy actually do this sort of thing. So yeah, genuinely like that. And of course, we still got some good character moments with Aelita willing to sacrifice her code, which is still very consistent. I like that. And a little minor thing, we also see there's a slight bit more turbulence at Yumi's house, as when Ulrich sneaks in to get the dress, we hear her parents briefly arguing. Now, it could just be like a regular marital spat, but based on what happened in an earlier episode, I'm hoping that gets expanded on. That might be interesting to see where that goes. I guess my only other complaints are after they figure out the code, it's just kind of standard Lyoko fare, so that's nothing. So it's nothing new that you wouldn't expect. Just kind of gets it down to the wire. They managed to get it, so whatever. But again, and of course, I think it would have been better. I think it would might have been better if Aelita actually did take them to Sector 5 to do the transfer. That would have made it more suspenseful and would have given them more tension. But and on top of that, top of that, the beginning of the episode made me kind of slap my face as we see Ulrich just get super defensive and angry at Yumi because he thinks that she was hanging out with William, which then had to make me remind myself they're teenagers. So yeah, but again, overall, actually a really good episode. The third act could have easily been shortened, but overall, actually really good. Good villain plan, nice beat, shocking but actually interesting B plot, and ultimately the end resolution was kind of sweet, and I liked how it went. So yeah, overall, nice episode. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you for watching. I'm Samuel Johnson. I'll see you next week. Take care.